In the previous video, we built the circuit for the excess correlation psychic training device, but the circuit itself requires a very specialized program to run. That program drives the magnetic pulse through the coil, and that magnetic pulse is what alters consciousness. It is absolutely essential to have the proper field strength and patterning in order to reach the expanded states of consciousness that we're after. So what you're going to require for this portion of the build is very simple. The circuit that we built before, the USB cord that came with the Arduino Uno, and a laptop or PC computer. Though I would recommend a laptop over a PC, and that's personal preference on my side. I've tried to get into meditative states around a PC, and it just doesn't, I never seem to be able to get deep enough into a meditative state to have a meaningful experience. Laptops allow portability and comfort that the PC just doesn't allow. So I'm going to move over to the laptop, and I'm going to take some screen captures while I actually take you to the Arduino website and download the program, the IDE, the Integrated Design Environment that you're going to need to run the two programs that I'm going to provide to you at museumoftarot.com. These will be in the Documents and Resources section, and they're up right now. Okay, so step one is you go over to your computer and you go to arduino.cc. Step two is you go to their software section, and you'll see the Arduino IDE. So the current version is 1.8.19, but whatever the most current is when you watch this video, it will work fine. So from there, you choose your operating system, whether it be Windows or Mac. And from there, you get a donation page, and if you'd like to donate to Arduino, they do great work, but clicking just download will work just fine. And there you go. Now we're downloading the file. Once your installation file is complete, go ahead and open that up, install the program. I'm going to assume, because we're on a freaking computer, that you probably know how to use a computer, so go ahead and get that installed how you would normally install a program. Now that the Arduino IDE is installed on your system, it's really simple. You just go to wherever you've put the icon, double click it, and you're going to go to your file drop down. Click the file, click open, and then find wherever you downloaded the Psychic Training Device Program 1 from my website. Open it up, and you'll see that this is the program that we're going to start with. How these two programs work is that the first program gets uploaded to the board, flashed to the board. It runs for 6 minutes, and then you do the same procedure with the second program, and that will run from anywhere 15 minutes onward, however long you want to do your session. Now these need to work together. The first program needs to be run before the second program because the first program acclimates the brain to be ready for the second program. The next step is simply to plug the Arduino board into the laptop, and you're going to use the large USB port on the side with this side of the USB cord that is provided right there, and then you just plug your other end into the laptop, and you'll see the board flash and light up, and you'll get the sound out of your laptop. From there, we go back to the design environment, and we're going to go to Tools and go down to Port, and make sure the port is pointed to wherever you have the Arduino plugged in. So for mine, it's COM6, so that's all ready to go. Now, all you need to do to flash the board is click on Upload, this little forward-facing arrow. Click that, and down here in the right side, it's going to show you your progress. You'll see that when that bar finishes up, your device will flash. And there you go. You notice that the light just went out and flickered and flashed back on the board, and now your LED light is flickering, and that means the program is uploaded to the board and it's being powered by the USB, and the circuit is working correctly, and this is exactly what you want to start with. Now for the final portion of the build, where we take the coil, we connect it up to the circuit, and then we test everything out. What you need for this final portion is the coil we built, the circuit we built, the final jumper wire, electrical tape, pair of scissors, or wire strippers, and wire strippers make the job much easier. Now, to start out, we just take the circuit and put it aside, and we want to find the two leads that come off of our coil, the end of the lead wires. We're just going to strip the insulation from the end of these leads, and you're going to take about 1.5 inches and put it in your scissors, and be very careful here, and just score the exterior portion of that until you can strip that right off. See how that worked? All right, now we have both of those ends stripped. We're going to do something roughly similar with this jumper cable, cut it right in the middle, and we're going to strip these two ends as well. And when we're done, we have our stripped ends. And the point of this is to take the end of the lead and splice it on with one of these jumper cables so you can plug it into the board. To make that splice, you take your copper and pull half of it to one side and half of it to the other, just like that. Do that to both cords. Pull it apart and pull it apart, just like that. You take this copper and you butt them together, and then you twist one side till it's twisted together, and you take the other side and twist that side together, and you twist those sides together, and then you push them together and braid them together again. And then lay that down to the wire itself. Take a piece of your electrical tape, cut it off, and then wrap up that wire. And it doesn't need to be pretty, it just needs to be insulated. And now that we have both of our ends spliced in with jumper leads, we can go on to the next portion. This portion is actually very important. When we built the coil, if you remember, I marked off a left and a right. What you want to do is take your left and just put that over to the side, and take your right. And you need to get these in the proper places on the board. The left and right have to go into their correct slots on the board, or else the pulse going through the unit will not circle around the head in the correct direction, and it will negate the effects. So if we've got the right lead, we're going to place that on the board in 19I. 19I on one side of the diode. So right there. Okay. Between the center pin of the transistor and the diode. 19I. The left lead of the coil is going to go on the positive rail right there on the other side of the diode. So you can see right there on the other side of the diode. So you have your two leads, these two blue cords, on either side of the diode for the right and left portion of the coil. And what this does is, if you take your head and face it away and we wear the coil, it creates a counterclockwise flow from the right to the left. And that is essential to block the binding frequency in the right hemisphere of the brain. So now you should have a few things ready. Your coil is connected up to the board. The board is connected up to the Arduino. The Arduino has the program written to it correctly. And then we need to just test everything out. So we're going to take a USB, just the same as the blue one. This one's just a little bit longer. And I have this connected up to the laptop. I'm just going to plug in the Arduino, and you'll see the LED lights up and starts flickering. If you have that flicker, that means that the program has been written correctly to the Arduino, and everything should be functioning correctly. There's one additional step we can take to make sure the proper program is coming through the coil and being pulsed correctly, And I did not include this in the build list or in any of the instructions because it's advanced, but I'm just going to show you right now what that basically looks like. And what I do is I take a small amplifier, and it's got a pickup. And all this pickup does is it changes electromagnetic energy into, converts it into an audio signal, basically. So you'll hear it through the amplifier. So if I turn this on, you can hear that pulse coming through? And if you go over here, the pulse is actually so weak, and it's intended to be weak, coming through this toroid, that you can't really hear it without amplification. So let me show you what amplification looks like. To amplify this all, I've taken a AC wall adapter, and I've spliced in some leads to it. And I don't want anybody doing this because you need to know what you're doing, or else you could get electrocuted or burn your house down. So what I do is I could take these and put them into the circuit just to add a little extra juice, and then turn it on. Now there's some extra power coming through, so it will amplify what we hear from the toroid. So let me turn it on again. See the difference? This is functioning correctly. What we heard coming through the amplifier is the correct pattern. So this is good to go, and we are ready to run some experiments with it. And that's the conclusion of the build video. So you should have a functioning unit. As long as you followed all the steps, put everything in the right places, everything should be good to go, and your unit should be doing exactly the same as mine. So that leads us to the fun part. Now that you've got a functioning device, we can set up experimentation, and you can start seeing what this does to your consciousness yourself. I love all you guys. You stuck in and built one of these with me, and I know you're anxious to get using this. So let me give you a first experiment to try right now. Take your coil and get a shower cap. Put the shower cap around it and put it on your head. Run the first program through the unit for 6 minutes. Then upload the second program and run it for 20. Do that just before you go to bed and see what your dreams are like that night. Anyone who does this, jump in the comments. Tell me how your dreams went. Tell me if you're able to finish people's sentences the next day, because that tends to be what happens. For anyone who uses this, all kinds of crazy shit opens up. Astral projection, lucid dreaming, serendipities. So give it a shot and let us know.